strengths that India has is that it has all the locales that you want for filming, whether it is outdoor, indoor, you name it, we have it. You have just one visa. Whether you want the desert, you want the sea, you want the mountains, you want the crowds, you want the poverty, you want the hills, you want the animation, you want the post-production, you name it, special effects, visual effects, VFX, the whole works, we have it all here. And you just need one film visa to undertake that activity. We have relatively, it is cost effective in terms of the funding portion of it because of the rupee dollar exchange value which is there. So it would be relatively inexpensive to film in India when compared to any other location. And thirdly, we would also be offering the incentives which would make it quite competitive for filmmakers to come and shoot in India.
If you look at historically what of India has done well, the most important, whether it was Satyajit Ray or whether it is Shekhar Kapoor uh, or Deepa Mehta or Meera Nair, I think India's biggest strength is its diversity, and as a result of that, it's diverse stories that we have. And I think if we focus on that, you know, this morning we were talking with Gautam Ghosh, who's talking about a talent story in India. So I think if we look for unique stories, uh, India has a lot to offer. Has a lot to offer. That's one. Two, I think we have a huge amount of talent, especially in the technical area. And we are talking about animation here. Saumitra's one of his earlier works, Gopi Gavaiya. One of the finest pieces of animation I have ever seen. I even when I look at a Bombay Rose, I still measure it against the quality of Gopi. Absolutely world class and was recognized as such. So I think talent and stories, these are the two important things. And thanks.
What we have actually built over the last 2 decades in India in terms of animation, visual effects, and gaming is the talent pool and the delivery mechanism. And I think that's a very important aspect. The second important aspect, according to me, is like the commonality between India and Canada. India and Canada both are known for outsourcing IT services and IT enabled services, and even animation and visual effects services and gaming services. At the same time, both the countries also deliver a large amount of original content. So they understand uh, the nuances and the mix of both the deliveries and both the creations. Uh, so that is a very solid point. The third important aspect is that if you really look at any category in in the animation audience space, India offers a huge amount of eyeballs, and I think they are all consuming a large amount of content. So, in terms of consumption of animation, visual effects, and the gaming ecosystem, I think we are a force in India today as a country which cannot be neglected because the consumptions are very, very large. And I think that's where the partnerships would remain very critical. What I may suggest, and I think Bobby sir and me had discussed this in the past, in particular. If actually we can have Indo-Canada co-production fund to be set up, and there are many people in Canada who are from Indian origin and even otherwise who would be keen. I think that would add a lot of value to this process, and I think it will push the process in a very big way.
The artistic talent that is available in our country, because of this huge, like we have 2,000 years of audiovisual history, and that is actually in fact a part of all of us. It's part of being, whether it's music or textiles or everything. So it's a very important aspect as a community, as a culture. The other thing which is some of you may be surprised at if I say this, but actually Indians are extremely hardworking. I seriously believe this. We are very hardworking working people, and I mean, I don't know if there are communities, people in the world who can work for 48 hours continuously if there's a deadline. So we have that huge strength, and people all over the world should appreciate this about us.
It's been a real privilege for me, and I have to say it was partly by accident and partly just the environment I came up in. I grew up in a very diverse city, and I had friends and classmates from all places in the world, including from India. So I was exposed to Indian culture and Indian cinema at a fairly early age. But it wasn't until 2005, when I was essentially assigned South Asia as a region to program, that I began to travel here more often. And as I traveled here, I developed friendships. I developed really close relationships with filmmakers and people who are passionate about movies. What I love about India is that it is the most film-passionate country in the world. You can talk to anyone in this country about movies, and everyone has opinions about them, and that's not the case everywhere else. I mean, this is really the main cultural form in this country, and I love movies, so I love to come to the country that loves movies the most. In the early years when I first started doing this job, I wanted to really make a big impact with the highest profile films from India to really call attention to the talent and the creativity that was coming out of the Indian film industries. And so we did have films like Kabhi Alvida Naikena and many others that had big Bollywood stars, and they were terrific events, created a lot of excitement. But then, several years ago, there was a new wave of independent Indian filmmakers coming out, the so-called Hindi filmmakers with an E, and then in other parts of the country as well. And I wanted to really showcase those. So now I've found that we have the audience. They've sat up and paid attention because we started with a big bang, and now I'm really just looking for the strongest films I can find. Sometimes they might be Bollywood films with big stars. Sometimes they might be real discoveries like Village Rock Stars, which we premiered and then went on to win awards back here in India. And we're looking really for that range. I hope that Indian filmmakers have as much freedom to tell the stories that they want to tell as possible, that they have the liberty to create and to tell the stories that move them and that they want to move audiences with, and that they can reach international audiences. I think one of the things I've tried to do over the last 13 years I've been working with Indian cinema is to bring some of these incredibly talented filmmakers to larger international audiences. People like Dibakar Banerjee and Anurag Kashyap and Leena Yadav and Reema Das last year as well. They deserve to be known much more broadly. Films circulate internationally through international sales agents, and if a film or a filmmaker doesn't have one on board, it's very hard to get noticed because there are tens of thousands of feature films made every year internationally. And there's just a lot of noise out there, and to rise above that noise, you need to have one of the tried and tested companies on board. Most of them are based in Europe or in the United States, and often they don't know Indian cinema that well. So it's up to those companies to spend more time in India, spend more time watching Indian films and getting to know Indian filmmakers. And for the filmmakers here in India, I think it's up to them to really seek out those companies as well. I know that Guneet Monga for many years would go to Paris and knock on the doors of the French sales companies and get her filmmakers and her films known.
We always want to be at a place that treats our imagination.
I want to go someplace where I can marvel at something.
A place immersed in its beauty and soaking in its culture.
The light, colors, smiles. It teaches me something.
A place that keeps its arms open to greet you with emotion.
Welcome to the best exotic Marigold Hotel.
Time and again, India has been the chosen destination for some of the world's biggest blockbusters. A destination that has not only brought you the most diverse set of locations, but also an equal amount of challenges while capturing the vision onto film. Keeping up to its promises, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting set up the Film Facilitation Office in the National Film Development Corporation of India, or NFDC, to become a single window clearance and facilitation mechanism for both domestic and international filmmakers.
All filmmakers of the world, here is your red carpet in India. You have beautiful and scenic locations, local talent, skilled workers, all facilitation through this center.
Since its inception in December 2015, FFO has been easing the filmmaking process for everyone by successfully facilitating over 90 international projects.
I had a wonderful experience shooting in India. We shot a better part of the film Dhaka in India. The locations were extremely exotic, and I fell in love with India.
FFO office made shooting Tenet for Mr. Christopher Nolan so easy. They did all the hand-holding to get all the permissions on time.
We know obtaining local permits from nook and corners of a state can be quite a challenge. Therefore, FFO has been continuously working with various states and central government agencies to further streamline the permitting process and their filming policies. In sync with the government's Digital India initiative, FFO also launched its web portal www.ffo.gov.in for processing online applications for filming in India in a time-bound manner. Additionally, the portal also brings together all the information that you require for filming in India.
It's going to be extraordinary.
FFO works as a platform for industry stakeholders to engage with the government and promote India as a film-friendly destination.
We have shoots going on in Lucknow, we have a shoot that is about to start in Punjab, and we are just talking to the FFO and they are being extremely helpful.
This initiative is wonderful and very well welcomed by the production fraternity because of the fact that it makes it so much easier for units to be able to shoot in a seamless manner.
Where directors and actors have constantly gone on record to describe shooting in India as an adventure, FFO intends to make this adventure all the more seamless and exciting for filmmakers around the globe. With FFO's ceaseless support to every passionate storyteller, we invite you to experience the magic. Ignite your imagination. Come, film in India.
Greetings from India. I hope you and yours are all safe in these pandemic times. Let me begin with saying that the M&E industry is one of the champions that is enabling our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi's vision of a $5 trillion economy. The pandemic has obviously upended all assumptions of what is normal, what is not normal, business of, as business of usual. But it has also sharpened the market trends and has taught us a lot more on what could be the opportunities in the sector. India, as everybody knows, has been consistently a filmic destination, film shooting destination. We are going to be notifying the rules of procedure for the champion services sector, wherein we will be giving incentives for co-production. We have been talking about it. I think we spoke about it for the first time in TIFF last year. But the in-principle approvals have been sought, and we are in the process of notifying the procedures which will be there. A few tweaking of the policy here and there, and then we should be able to announce it formally. For the incentives will be there for filming in India. This is especially for foreign filmmakers who want to come and shoot not only feature films, but also television serials, web serials, the entire thing. The Film Facilitation Office processes the applications for the film visa. You can apply for the film visa on the FFO portal itself once the permission has been given to you. That has been there. Insofar as the Indian missions abroad are concerned, for the ease of filming in India, the missions are also appointing exclusive nodal officers for giving the film permissions. This is another thing that we have recently got the Ministry of External Affairs to kind of facilitate for us, so that whoever wants to film in India can come and get the permissions at the earliest. We have tied up with the Archaeological Survey of India, which is a seamless kind of a thing with the railways. I mean, for the foreign filmmakers, it is just a one-stop shop. India has the destinations, India has the pre-production activities, India has the post-production activities. It's just one visa that you need to come here and finish your film. So this, I would request all of you to come take this opportunity. We are opening up the airlines also. Due to the pandemic, there was a shutdown, but we are slowly opening up. The travel restrictions are easing up. But insofar as the shooting permissions are concerned, we have already, the ministry has already released the standard operating procedures for filming in India, which cater to the world parameters for safe shooting in the wake of the pandemic. Aside from this, with regard to the co-production treaty, I am sure that we would have a lot more than what has been done so far. I would welcome all the Canadian filmmakers to come film in India. You have a huge expat population who can consume the stuff that you make about India or the Indian locales, etc. We also have a huge consumption. We also consume films in a great deal. Last I knew was more than 2 million cinema tickets were sold on an average daily in India. So your films can also be shown in our country, because the market for movies is huge. And with regard to the AVCG sector, which is an upcoming sunrise sector for the industry, we would like to, I would like to reiterate that our incentive scheme, our ease of filming, the schemes, etc., are applicable for the AVCG sector also. We would like you to come here and shoot your animated films. You use our production facilities for making animated films. We have these hubs. We have states in the country who are very good, who have very good facilities in this thing. We are in any case doing the processing for a lot of films globally. And finally, come film in India.
So I have a very long-standing relationship with Toronto, the city and the film festival. Starting with Bandit Queen, which is now more than 25 years ago. And then we had Fire premiered there, and actually, whether there was no formal treaty, but Fire was really a very major Indo-Canadian co-production. And Deepa Mehta's first film of the trilogy. And after that, we had Maqbool premiere at Toronto, which is another celebration. And after that, I had the world premiere of a film that I was releasing on behalf of a friend, Mani Ratnam. The Guru's world premiere was a huge event in Toronto. I'm saying all this because, unlike other European co-productions or co-production treaties, Canada and perhaps UK, the co-production relationship is very special. It's very special because there are very large populations. So there's a very large cultural connect also. So it's not just a case of sharing some money or locations or even some stories. Here there is a major cultural connect. I mean, if you go to Mississauga, which is a 30-minute drive from Toronto, you will feel as if you have come to, and you probably come to the Punjab or the India that we dreamt of, kind of thing. It's all fancy. You don't see a single white face over there. And similarly, London has that same characteristic. So our stories so we can actually get into co-production mode with them and, come up with, really successful product under the treaty. And now that the visibility of the product, for me, one part of COVID has come as a major blessing, which is that high quality product is seen on the OTT space. And the big advantage of the OTT space is that it doesn't matter if it is one village in Canada with one Canadian, or sorry, with one Indian, or one place in India with a Canadian. You have access to the product on demand. When it was purely on theatric release, that was a big problem, because you had to have a cinema within the region. You had to be free during the week that the film was screening. You had to have tickets for it. You went, etc. So, like, not even 0.5% of people who wanted to see the product could see it. Today, everyone can see it. And we've had some, as a result, some very successful stories, and especially with Deepa's work over there. And frankly speaking, even our director for Delhi Crime, it was a Canadian, and it was very much a Canadian collaboration with India to do a very important Indian story. So I think it's a very interesting beginning, and we've got to build on this. And especially if, as Kalyani has promised, we will get some incentive to do it. I think it will help us go a great way, and they like us. I mean, in fact, Toronto is so close to IFFI that I sometimes see them as very similar in characteristic and product, and I've often suggested that they do some kind of a Raksha Bandhan campaign between the two festivals, and form a relationship. And Cameron likes India and Indian product. There's a lot happening between the two, so I think there's a great opportunity there.
What I would like to see is Indian films going to festivals and finding an audience that is outside the diaspora, because that's the whole idea. Because our films are available to the diaspora anyways in this day and age, because technology is available. So if you go back to Bandit Queen generated the kind of buzz it did because it did not have stars. Nobody, had gone to see the film because there was Shah Rukh Khan in it or Amitabh Bachchan in it. They went for the film, and if you look at the Lunchbox, it went to Cannes and then got distributed in 55 countries. Was consumed by audiences in 55 countries. I think that is where, because my experience in Toronto, I can go back to 1996 when both Fire and Kama Sutra, Meera Nayar's Kama Sutra, Tale of Love, were in the festival at the same time. 2002, I think it was Mani Ratnam's Peck on the Cheek, Kannathil Muttamittal, and Buddhadev Dasgupta's Mando Me Rupa Khan, The Tale of a Naughty Girl, which were both in the Masters section of Toronto, which is a very prestigious section. Those were films that had a lot of white people coming in, watching them. It wasn't just the Indians. So, but when you go and watch a big commercial film, which Toronto programs a lot of, at least 90% of the audience is Indian. Whereas if you go to watch a Chinese film in the same festival, TIFF, it's a 50-50 divide, it's 50 white, 50 Chinese. So I think we have to go there. When a Chen Gaika film plays in Toronto or a Zhang Yimou film plays in Toronto, there's a demand for that film among white audiences, Canadians who are not Indians, not Indian origin Canadian. So, that's where we need to, because we get stuck in this whole rigmarole, of the numbers, our stories have to globalize, not just the people. When somebody was, planning this whole silo of, silos for Indo-American productions, Indo-US productions, my first question was, will you just be globalizing your money, or will you also globalize your stories? If you're globalizing your money, as a film critic, I'm not interested. That's for the business people to deal with. As a critic, what I'm looking for is, if you are producing Lincoln, it doesn't interest me. Lincoln would be produced anyways. So I think our thinking should sort of gravitate towards globalizing our stories. When we talk about Indo-Canadian co-production or Indo-French co-production, we have to go beyond just the audience that we have, just the numbers that we have. And because India, I don't think, there's any country in the world which has such a diversity of stories. But where is that diversity being reflected in our cinema? That is why I'm so excited when I see a film like The Disciple into the competition, because that's a uniquely Indian story. I mean, that story can't be set anywhere else. It's a story about Hindustani classical music. Lunchbox was about the Dabbawalas of Mumbai. That story couldn't have taken place anywhere else. Those are the things that should happen. Bandit Queen, I mean, couldn't have happened anywhere else. I mean, these stories where people are coming and going between two cultures is great. I mean, the world is one village. But the point is, who will tell our stories if we don't? So these are the stories that we need more of on the screen, and that is why I'm so excited about The Disciple, because it's after a long time, a festival has programmed a film that's not set in the Mumbai underworld, that is not set in a village where people are suffering, and which is also a reality. But here we are getting into this very rarefied universe of classical music, Hindustani classical music, which itself is a fascinating sort of world, and so that is my take. I mean, when we talk of co-production, we talk of more give and take, more synergy happening. The focus should be on stories.
First of all, I would like to greet all the TIFF attendees and the complete TIFF organizers. I had an opportunity to be at TIFF 3 times in the last 7 years, and it's been a very vibrant, festival. It has grown. We have seen it grow. We had a large amount of delegations coming from Canada to India. There are quite a few things which are extremely common between, two of our countries. One is that, unlike many other countries where the whole industry is kind of are working around one city or, one hub, but in Canada, there are 5 to 6 different hubs in different cities where the films, the animation, visual effects, gaming ecosystem exists. And the same is the case with India, that we have more than about 9 to 10 hubs in India right now, where the complete ecosystem for filmmaking, post-production, pre-production, animation, visual effects, gaming, which exists. And I think that's a commonality talks about the vast interest of people within these two countries to enable storytelling through different platforms and different mediums. And in particular, when you talk about the animation, one of the common things that I see as a thread, and very rightly said by Mr. Bobby Bedi, there's something unique about India, Canada, and UK, is because all of us have always invested into multicultural programming, and I think it's not so common in many countries. But these are the 3 countries who have very consciously invested in multicultural aspect, and the same aspect we would like to bring to animation and gaming as well, and even the extended VR, the mixed VR, and augmented reality and virtual reality. And I think in these sectors that we actually do partnerships with several studios from Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and Ottawa. The mechanisms work extremely well, and the special arrangements for co-productions can fit in extremely well with India, because I've been a part of about 7 co-productions so far. Although at that point in time, the treaty was not there, and we did a couple of co-productions post-treaty, but not as a part of using the treaty. But these arrangements are because of our relationships with the studios that we establish during several, markets that we go to. And I think there is a need of a very specific Indo-Canadian kind of a pipeline of activities for B2B and studio to studio interactions, because that's where we have seen that these studio to studio relations have given birth to extremely good ideas for the preschool animation, the 6 to 9 years of animation, and even 10 to 14 years of animation projects. More so, Canada is extremely well known for the preschool animation, and I think that's where India would like to partner, because that's one of our weaknesses. And with many, networks that are there in India right now, with the whole agenda of creating original content. Although initially all the content was made very India-centric, but now we are looking at the global content. The good news is that we have an extremely capable studio system for delivery of animation and visual effects, as well as gaming from India. And it's a very unique position for us to partner with North America, and especially Canada, because a large amount of pre-production skills, the design skills, the voice skills actually come from that region for the properties that we create in animation in particular. And especially to mention, our relationship with Vancouver and Montreal for the gaming. And most of our gaming studios actually are partnering with many of these studios to actually create content and create games which are consumed in not only in the American or Latin American areas, but also in the Asian and the European sectors. And I think some of these successes have led a good, examples to see how these studio-to-studio relations can be built. And although we are in, the pandemic right now, but as we move forward, the co-production arrangements between the complete ecosystem of India and the complete ecosystem of Canada can actually lead to global content creation in a very unique way, because the cost arbitrage that India provides right now is parallel to none in the world right now. And I think the value chain that India delivers in terms of right from pre-production skills to the complete creation of the shows or the feature films till the end is something that needs to be exploited, or that needs to be looked at as an opportunity. More so, I would also say that India during this COVID time also came up with the national education policy, and it actually has transformed a huge approach to creative arts, performing arts, design, events, sports, and the overall media and entertainment space, where the intervention would start very early in the school, and also in the university structure for multicultural or multidisciplinary education. And although we have about 4 or 5 partnerships with the Canadian education system, especially for animation visual effects in India, with Vancouver Film School, Langara, Ryerson, Seneca, and Sheridan, I think there is an opportunity for us to grow that ecosystem. And no sooner we invest in growing partnerships in specifically the media and entertainment and animation gaming, as well as the extended VR spaces, that partnership itself is going to give a lot of a lead to creating co-production shows and the films and the products for the global consumption. And I am extremely positive that the Indo-Canada co-production treaty can actually have a right kind of a usage and right kind of partnerships which are promoted with this people-to-people meeting. And I think that's where the complete manthan and the churning would happen, to see that what we can provide to the world in the space of animation, visual effects, gaming, and augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, and extended reality can be set as an example. Before I end, I would like to say that the complete, different parts of education to final productions that happen in Canada has been a very big learning point for many universities and many studios, and even the complete co-production ecosystem, because Canada has co-production treaties with many countries, and they are successfully working. And I believe that that whole learning is going to see India find its space with Canadian studios to appraise the world with unique content, right from the preschool to till the senior citizens. There is a scope for us to really address content to all these people. One of the co-productions that we picked up during one of the TIFF was with the Platinum Pictures, where my friend Nishit Takia and Alexandria plus her husband, who had written this wonderful story about the reunion which happens in Goa, and it's about all the hippies who used to come, and they are now wanting to have this reunion. So we actually entered into a kind of an understanding, and we are trying to convert that into a co-production. And we would like to see this co-production come through. It's a live action piece, but we are quite committed to this story, and it's an amazing story treatment done by Alexandria. And I think in the coming few months, we would see that this really works for us. The second is when I actually first took up the Maricom Junior, and we wanted to build the first girl superhero from India, from the Northeast India. And no sooner we had actually put this pitch out, the first few studios who came from Canada to us for a co-production was very encouraging. We are actually under NDAs there, but right now we are working on the nitty-gritties of budgeting the show. So we would like to see even building this girl power with Maricom Junior to go global. And she is a young boxer and self-reliant, and knows how to defend for herself, her friends, and her community. Very inspiring story, and I think we are very keenly looking at this. The third story that I didn't tell you is about Circus, which is also an animated feature film that we are looking at. And the fourth one is Amazing Kids, and that's to do a lot with using your day-to-day education during the age up to 10 to solve various puzzles and various maze that was created to save the earth. It is a lot to do with extinction of various elements like air, gravity, or many things, which leads in a very fun way, I would call it, in an entertaining way, also takes the kids through various aspects of their learnings that they do in the school. So that is a unique project called Amazing Kids, and that has a lot of interest because many kids were not able to go to school, and they had to do the learning with sitting at home on the Zoom and watching the content. So we decided to create this unique content which will take them through unique aspects of their subjects, but they will not know that they are learning something that is there from the school curriculum, but they are using that knowledge in the practical world. So these are the four co-productions that I'm very actively working with.
My relationship with Toronto started in 2015 when our film was screened at TIFF. It was the first time an animated feature film, Indian animated feature film, was screened at one of the top 4 festivals of the world. So it was obviously very exciting time for us. It was the first time when I had actually gone there, and I was quite intrigued by the place because it was neither like America and neither it was like Europe, So it had its own identity, which was interesting for me, and then I met a lot of people there. See, as a filmmaker, it's extremely important for me to connect with the people over there. I'm sure treaties and all those things are great, but unless two cultures meet and unless two people meet together, it's not going to happen. and I felt the Canadians were extremely warm. I just loved the way they're very gentle, and they're very intrinsically attracted to technology and innovation. So that was something that really interested me about them. And then actually, so during that time, we were also considering opening a studio or having a branch of a studio outside of India, and we were considering Singapore and maybe London for a while. But then I thought no, Canada would be the perfect place for us. So we started a studio last year with our Canadian partners. It's called Outside. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, the operations have got delayed. But we are already working on two solid proposals over there. One is a feature length, animated film, and the other one is a web series. It's also animated and actually it's for adults. It's not children's. And we are also developing some other products. We are also interested in gaming and digital toys for kids. So our Canadian partners who are experts in this space. Our expertise is of course animation. So we are working with them on developing some digital toys, which will be distributed, across the world. So yeah, so it's a very exciting time for us, and we are all waiting for this, for the pandemic to be behind us, so that we can get on with our lives, basically.
यतो हस्त ततो दृष्टिः, यतो दृष्टिः ततो मनः, यतो मनः ततो भावः, यतो भावः ततो रसः.
Englishmen simply cannot control 350 million Indians if those Indians refuse to cooperate.
Dia orang Timur atau orang Indonesia?
It's a cinema!
सर ये बहुत ऊपर ले आया सर ठोकेगा ये सर
હે મારી માવડી, વરસાદી પૂનમનો પહેલો ગરબો તારા ચરણોમાં અર્પણ. લાગ લગાટ ત્રીજે વર્ષે આ ધરતી કોરી ના રહે. થોડો વરસાદ આપજે. બોલો અંબે માત કી જય.
તારા ગામમાં ગરબા રમતી હતી? અહીંયા ના રમાય. અહીંયા નાતના નિયમ પહેલા મર્યાદાથી મોટું બીજું કાંઈ નહીં.
હા, જબરું નહીં. વરસાદ ન પડે તો એમને ગરબા ગાવાના ને આપણે ઉપવાસ કરવાનો. હે, કોક છે ત્યાં?
પાણી.
આ ઢોલ કોનો છે?
મારો.
વગાડશો?
હવે રોજ આવશું ને ગરબા રમવા?
આવીશું ગરબા રમવા, પણ કેવાનું શું એ કે પહેલા
પાણી ભરવા આવ્યા એમ.
કોઈની શેષારામ રાખ્યા વગર સીધા નાચવા જ માંડ્યા.
નાચ્યા તો નાચ્યા, કોઈ જોયું છે ક્યાં? ગરબાના બદલામાં તો આખું રાજપાટ આપી દઉં, પણ મારી પાસે છે નહીં.
હું તો ગરબા રમતી હોઉં છું, મનમાં જોજે હો, પકડાઈ ન જતી. મનમાં માથા કપાઈ જશે.
સાચે મારી નાખે છે આ લોકો.
તમારા ઢોલના તાલ પર તાળી આપીએ ને એટલો વખત એમ થાય કે જીવતા છીએ. મરવાની બી કે જીવવાનું નહીં છોડીએ.
અંદર જા.
નિયમો એમના ને રમત એમની. એના ભાગ નહીં બનવાનું, ભોગ બન્યા એટલું બહુ છે.
કીધું તું ને, પાંખ ફૂટી હોય કે સિંગડા જાતે કાપી નાખજે. હું કાપીશ તો વધારે દુખાશે.
வடகிழக்கு பருவமழை நேற்று நள்ளிரவு முதல் தொடர்ந்து பெய்து வருகிறது.
எங்க அப்பா பேரு பி.வி. கிருஷ்ணசுவாமி.
அம்மா எங்க?
என்ன பார்க்குற? இப்படி ஒரு பட்டிக்காட்டை கல்யாணம் பண்ணிட்டோம்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
എല്ലപ്പനെ ഭരണങ്ങാനത്ത് നിന്ന് പള്ളിങ്ങോട്ട് കയറുമ്പം പേട്ട വരെ കാളവണ്ടി എത്തത്തുള്ളായിരുന്നു, അറിയാവോ? അവിടുന്ന് മണ്ടക്കം മുണ്ടക്കം ഇവിടെ എത്തിപ്പെട്ടപ്പോഴോ നേരെ ആനയും ഇളം പന്നി കരടിയെ പേടിച്ചിട്ടാണേലുണ്ടല്ലോ പുറത്തിറങ്ങാൻ വേണം. അപ്പൻ ആദ്യം തന്നെ ഒരു മുട്ടൻ കുരിശുണ്ടാക്കി മലയുടെ മേളിലങ്ങ് നാട്ടി, എന്നിട്ട് സകല ആണിനെയും പെണ്ണിനെയും വിളിച്ചിറക്കിയിട്ട് ഒത്തും കിളയെ നടിയും. ഇപ്പോഴും നമ്മളിവിടെയൊക്കെ ആണേലും ഇത് മുഴുവൻ മൃഗങ്ങളുടെ സ്ഥലമാണ്. അത് നോക്കടാവേ, ലവന്മാരെ രണ്ട് കാലയിലും ഓടുന്നുണ്ടേലും മൃഗമാ മൃഗം.
आडव्याच्या दिवशी माझ्या एकुलत्या एका पोराला पोलीस कोठडीत हाल हाल करून मारला.
हा एक अपघात होता असा निष्कर्ष क्राईम ब्रांचनी काढलाय. कोणीच साक्षीदार नाही.
ते विषय कसा आहे माहिती का, पोलीसवाले पण आपले जातभाई पण माई पण आपलेच.
कोणा एकाच त्या घटनेवर नियंत्रण राहत नाही. इथे ते एवढे लोक एकत्र आलेत फक्त 4200 रुपयासाठी.
किती वर्ष केस लढणार आहेस? हे बघ, इथं आमच्या विरुद्ध एक बी कोणी शब्द काढणार नाही. आम्हाला फासावर सोडून तुला काय बी मिळणार नाही. झालं गेलं, विसरून जा.
का केलास तू असं? जर का मी खरं सांगितलं तर आणखी खून होती लाग.
तू फक्त तुझाच विचार करतेस माई, आणि बाकीच्यांकडनं खऱ्याची मागणी करतेस.
हे म्हणजे नितीनला रोज मारल्यासारखं झालंय, आणि उद्या मीच मिले तर.
ನಾನೊಂದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್.
ಏನು? ಕಮ್ ಅಗೇನ್?
ಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ದ ವಿಕ್ಟಿಮ್. I believe in my system, judicial system.
I am still a virgin and I am fit to have all the rights to live my life.
वहाँ दीवार से लगे 7 छोटे छोटे पलंग एक दूसरे के साथ मिलकर लगे हुए थे. वो झोपड़ी 7 छोटे छोटे बोनों का घर.
लड़की तो हम नहीं देंगे, कराओ अल्ट्रासाउंड इन्हों देख लें इसके पेट में क्या है.
कोरोना तय कारण लड़कियों की कमी हुई है, इसलिए हमारे जनरेशन है उसमें भुगतना पड़ रही है.
There is a strong correlation in districts which have low sex ratio and crime against women.
25-30 years ago, I could not have imagined a gang rape in Haryana. Today, you are hearing it every second, third day.
ना तो ये था कि भाई कुछ नशा हुआ या मैं बेहोश हो गई थी, मेरे को ये पता था कि भी तेरे साथ में गलत हो रहा है.
Then she's taken to another person and another person. She's raped again and again and again.
जैसे समय रिश्ता होता है ऐसे मेरा रिश्ता तय हुआ था।
अगर ये बात इनको शादी के बाद पता चलेगी तो क्या होगा?
मैंने तभी कहा कि रिश्ता भी आपसे करूँगा और न्याय भी आपको दिलाऊंगा। इट इज मेरी गारंटी है, मैं लड़ूंगा आपके लिए।